Stop me if you've heard this one. Hulk is the hardest tank in the game. That's what I saw on TikTok and YouTube throughout my first few months playing Marvel Rivals, and I took that at its word. Me being a nice little Groot boy, I was perfectly happy spamming my walls and staying far away from him. That was until last season, and suddenly Groot was banned every single game. So I was having a bit of a character crisis. I tried out some other characters and other tanks like Venom, and I was having some decent fun, but nothing was really sticking with me. So finally, before this season started, I made a vow to myself. I was going to try to learn the hardest tank in the game, Mr. Banner himself. This is the journey of how I became a top 1% ranked Hulk player in the world in just 1 week. So first things first, I had to understand Hulk's moveset. Most of his abilities are pretty simple on the surface, but take a bit of deeper thinking to fully utilize them in an actual game. His first ability, Indestructible Guard, summons a shield around the Hulk, or I like to call it the bubble. It can be used to prevent damage for a short time, making you completely invulnerable. This is good for allowing you when you're low HP or you really want to escape. However, depending on how close you are to your teammates, it can also summon a bubble around them. So if you're standing next to 5 of your teammates, then you can spawn 6 bubbles around everyone on your team. This also prevents any damage from them for a short time. His second ability, Radioactive Lockdown, is a stun that immobilizes a single target. This can stall them until it runs out, which is around 3 seconds, or Hulk hits them with any type of damaging move. And finally, his Gamma Burst is just a simple projectile blast. This all seems pretty simple, especially considering his main attack is just a punch, right? So, pretty confident, I went into quick play to see how he actually played. And one of the hardest things at first was how hard it was to actually find the groove in a match. I understood the abilities, I understood what they did, but I didn't really understand what I was supposed to be doing as Hulk. With Groot, I knew I had to make space for my team with my walls, I had to corner enemies and punish them for overextending, while still looking for kills. I had enough movement and abilities to where I could effectively play around certain comps. But with Hulk, it kinda just seemed like I was soaking up damage and dying. After a few quick play matches, I quickly realized that I was supposed to be making a decision every single time I jumped. I wasn't just supposed to be jumping willy-nilly around the screen, trying to distract the enemies. I had to decide whether to find the front line, try to peel and protect my healers if they were getting dove, or dive their backline every single time I jumped. If I wasted jumps trying to dive or go in some random area, I was going to get melted every single time. I did, however, manage to get a few pretty cool looking clips just on day 1.
Hulk smash, little man! Little man, leave Hulk alone! Hulk is strongest there is!
And as day 1 concluded, I realized that I was going to have another big issue to solve in this coming week. Flying meta. If you didn't know, Ultron was the latest character to be added in Marvel Rivals, and he fits specifically in the Flyer class, joining Storm, Iron Man, and Human Torch as the only 4 characters to be in permanent flight mode throughout the match. This basically means that they can't touch the ground and walk around like normal characters, but they can fly next to their team, they can fly in middle ground, or they can go all the way to the flying height limit. This allows certain characters to basically not be able to touch them because they can't melee them. Ultron can attach a healing drone to characters that will allow for passive healing throughout the match, and that combined with his firewall ability that grants bonus health to both allies around him and to the character that the drone is attached to, meant that flyers now have a lot more survivability. A big problem in the past was that healers would have to look up to where flyers are to actually heal them, and if flyers are flying around trying to dodge attacks, healers could also miss their heals. Now, they no longer have to get focused healing when flying away from the team, which meant that they are a lot better and they can survive a lot longer. And for tanks, that's a problem that is only magnified 100-fold. The majority of tanks in the game have an extremely difficult time dealing with them, as they can just fly out of their attack range. Characters like Thing or Venom can't really do anything against a Human Torch or Iron Man that's flying at the height limit. There's no way for them to hit them. Hulk, however, has a move included in his moveset that people oftentimes miss, and it's one of the main reasons I wanted to try him out, and that is his air grab. I saw clips of him just being able to grab and stun flyers out of the air, and immediately wanted to do that myself. You can do this by simply jumping through their hitbox while they're past a certain height. What I didn't realize was how difficult it actually is to get the grab. You have to be extremely precise to actually activate the grab. I can't tell you how many times I would jump and go right next to them, under them, or above them, and just not get the grab. So I went into practice mode and literally just sat there for 20 minutes, trying to consistently work on the proper angles so I wouldn't mess up the grab mid-game. What I realized while playing was that you're gonna miss a lot. It's honestly better if you just expect the misses and make sure you aren't hard focusing on getting grabs the whole time. If you miss once, it's better for you just to play normal instead of trying over and over again, because you're just going to end up jumping around and looking like an idiot. However, by the end of the day, I was able to get a few good ones. So I decided that it was finally time to hop into competitive, as up until now I had just been honing the basics on quick play. I was honestly really nervous because I wasn't sure if the difference between quick play, which was kind of random gameplay, and competitive with actual team comps and bans, if my knowledge of Hulk from the past 2 days would actually carry over, but I quickly learned that all the stuff I had learned up until now was actually working pretty well. It was immediately clear to me that playing Hulk required a lot of strategic play that didn't always result in high stats. It felt like it was near impossible to get ace. Even with zero death games, especially if I had an Ultron on the team, he is the definition of all impact, zero stats. But regardless, I was slowly climbing. It was here that I really started to identify the characters that I hated playing against as Hulk. Unlike other tanks, I wasn't really focusing on banning flyers because I had the air grab, but I was struggling with characters that had ridiculous outputs of damage, which is a lot of DPS in this game. High damage or burst characters like Punisher, Squirrel Girl, or Hawkeye could quickly burst you down if you were trying to dive them, or on the contrary, break your bubble while you were trying to escape. Hela and Psylocke were also annoying as they could deal lots of damage really fast, and unfortunately for me, one of the most commonly played tanks in the game, Emma Frost, is another big problem with her command grab that deals ridiculous amounts of damage and puts Hulk in really bad situations, especially if you don't have your bubble. And then obviously there's that guy. I realized that honestly Hulk has a ridiculous amount of counters. There's so many characters that are unfun to play against as Hulk. But what I learned throughout the day was that Emma and Wolverine can be somewhat countered. If you see how Wolverine has his grab and cycle, or Emma just entered her diamond form, you can either quickly jump away, which is what I do most of the time, to stall it out, or to use his bubble. This meant that most of the time you could outplay those two characters, and I didn't have to worry about banning them. Playing against a good Punisher or Hawkeye though, it made it feel like they were almost unapproachable at times. They were dealing such high amounts of damage, and there wasn't really a stop, especially with Punisher's turret. There's no real reliable way for Hulk to damage Punisher's turret outside of Gamma Blast, which does minimal damage, and bubble gets shredded in an instant by both his normal gun and his turret, and Hawkeye can one-shot your bubble. So there isn't really a good way to approach those characters. I was also getting a lot better at grabbing flyers in key moments, especially when they weren't flying higher than my range. So we were almost halfway through the week, and I already felt like I had improved a lot from day one. I knew that at this point, it was time to dive into some advanced tech. So just like any aspiring player of a character, I looked up Hulk Guide on YouTube and I found a few different advanced techs that I wanted to learn next. First was bhopping. There are a few specific methods that you could use, but I wanted to really hammer down one. For this method, all you do is charge your jump, and a frame or two before you hit the ground, you click jump again, and you'll keep some of that momentum. This is useful for faster rollouts and just overall smoother movement when you're trying to jump into fights or you're trying to escape. The timing, however, is super duper strict. I spent forever trying to get it right before I decided to add a secondary jump button, my mouse scroll wheel. That way, as Hulk was about to hit the ground, I could slowly pull the scroll wheel towards me, essentially spamming the jump input and making the timing a little less harsh. I finally got it down eventually, but this was easily the most frustrating part of this journey so far. The next technique was juggling. When you're in your ultimate, there are many different ways to utilize your air grab to loop and combo your enemies, but for some reason I just decided not to really practice this one. I think I had just watched it a few times and kind of just hopped back into comp. I'm pretty sure I was still tilted from trying to learn the bhop for like 45 minutes and wanted to get out of the practice range. But anyways, I left training and I got a free costume coin and instantly had to get the legendary World Breaker skin. I felt the completeness of his moveset really start to show more as I climbed the next few ranks with my new skin, and day 5 slowly approached. On day 5, my goal was simple. I wanted to try to dominate every single game I played by using every bit of Hulk's moveset, making sure to maximize my combos and movement to ensure I was impacting every bit of the games that I was in. And I was finally getting clips like this. I also began to use his abilities in more niche ways. For example, instead of using his bubble to protect me or my teammates like you normally would, I could also use it to finish off a kill. I could position myself between someone and the rest of their team, and since the bubble blocks all incoming damage or heals from opposing teams, this means that you can bubble and block incoming heals to other players on the opponent's team, which allowed for easy kills. I could also use my stun to stall out ultimates like pennies and to finish off any squishies who were trying to escape by denying them heals while they were immobilized. While playing online though, I kept running into annoying counters like Iron Fist or Groot, who obviously never got banned anymore, but they were just continuously tilting me. I realized on day 5 that Hulk really does have a lot of characters that can counter him, like a lot. If you look at any tier list that is currently out right now and just look at the top 2 lines, they're almost all characters that do pretty decently against Hulk. I realized like I can't really counter certain characters because banning certain characters only lets others through. One of the biggest things I knew that I was going to have to learn was how to simply play better than my opponents who were picking these annoying characters. Day 5 was actually the day I played the least because I lost a few matches in a row and started to get tilted, so I just decided to just take a break. So on to day 6 we go. After yesterday, I really wanted to get back to that more fundamental smart gameplay earlier in the week. I had stopped playing strategic and kind of got overconfident. I just started jumping on anything and everything, fishing for kills instead of trying to play objective and things like that. But on day 6, I got back into the groove. Some of the ways I was winning games on day 6 were definitely cool. Before my last day, I did want to VOD review some of the best Hulk players in the world. It was the one thing that I hadn't done yet. So I decided to watch Bad GD Player.
I just wasted so much money on that.
He's a top rank Hulk that's currently climbing the highest ranks of Celestial. Throughout his gameplay and highlights, he's consistently hitting his Hulk grabs, utilizing both his bubble and stun extremely effectively, and he is ridiculously consistent with his bhop combos and juggle loops. So after spending around 30 to 45 minutes reviewing, I hopped into ranked for a few more games. I could feel that I was so close to hitting my goal, which was to hit Grandmaster with solo Hulk, showing that I could use Hulk in comp this season, even in a season where he's not supposed to be that great. After a few games, I actually logged off pretty quickly because I wanted to leave most of the grind to the final day. So, it was finally here, the final day of Hulk. All the practice, all the hours grinding in training mode, quick play, and reviewing footage and VODs was ready to show itself. Of course, we had to buy and equip the mighty G-Bomb to show everyone just how serious we are. You know, all the best Hulks use it. So with no warm-up, I hopped into ranks, and, well...
I see you.
So yeah, after a 6-game win streak, I had done it. Grandmaster was achieved with solo Hulk. And like 1 game of Moon Knight, but we don't care about that. Just extremely clean, effective gameplay that showed just how good my Hulk had gotten after just a week of gameplay. With around 8 hours played and a 64% win rate, I had hit GM. Checking Rivals meta immediately after had me ranked as the 25th best Hulk in the entire world, right behind my boy Bad GD Player. Pretty cool, right? Now, obviously, these rankings aren't entirely accurate, as he is in Celestial and I am only in GM. But seeing these types of results in just a week of playing really did show that all the training paid off. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this journey. Please make sure to like and comment what characters down below you want me to do next. That really shows me that you guys enjoy this type of content, and I'll keep trying to make more. But as always, I'll see you guys next time.